Okay, this video is about complex sentences. You will notice the changed theme. I hope you enjoy that. All right, let's get started. Complex sentences. They contain one independent clause and one dependent clause. And I think from our worksheet the other day when we were studying clauses, I think you have that figured out. Remember, dependent clauses begin with these following subordinating conjunctions. These are the words that we associated with mom. Mom qualifies things sometimes. Yes, you may go out because you're a good little girl. You may go to the movie as long as you've cleaned the toilet. So those qualifiers. Now, all of these words don't fit that, but some of them do. All right, first example. If the dependent clause comes at the beginning of the sentence, you need to place a comma after it. So here we have, while George was kayaking on the river, comma, it's a dependent clause, he spotted a 3-foot carp. So our notation is going to be DC, dependent clause, comma, IC, independent clause. If the dependent clause comes at the end of a sentence, you do not usually need a comma. So we have George spotted a 3-foot carp while he was kayaking on the river. Now, something to keep in mind is normally the most important idea is going to be in the independent clause. Okay? The most important idea will be in the independent clause. Keep that in mind. There are some exceptions. You need to use a comma after the dependent clause only in the case of extreme contrast. So, words of hate spilled from her lips, though she had won first place in the competition. So you wouldn't normally expect that she would be full of hatred if she just won. Another tip, the words who, which, and that may be subjects of dependent clauses, and these are called relative pronouns. So just remember, the man who ate the bird is sitting on the park bench. These words right here, who ate the bird, that is your dependent clause, and the independent clause is the man is sitting on the park bench. If that dependent clause that we were just looking at is tucked in the middle of a sentence, you have to decide if it is essential, meaning important to the understanding of the sentence, then you don't need a comma, or if it is essential to your understanding of the sentence, and then you do need a comma. So we have Billy Bob, who lives in the van down by the river, enjoys eating possum stew. So you'll notice in this example, it is clear who the man is. We get his name, it's Billy Bob. The information after his name is just additional interesting information. So you do need to use commas. In the second example, the man who lives down the river enjoys eating possum stew. In this example, we're not clear who the man is. The clause following it, who lives down the river, identifies him and is therefore necessary, and you do need a comma. A few other cautions. Some words such as until, after, and before can also be prepositions. You must check to see if the word introduces a subject and a verb or not. So after the game, George ordered a brownie earthquake from Dairy Queen. Well, after the game in this case is a preposition. Here we have after the game ended, so we get the full subject verb. Therefore, we're going to need a comma because this is a dependent clause. And last but not least, sometimes we have compound complex sentences. In this case, a compound complex sentence is when you have two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. So I have one example. Since the freshman class built the most creative float, that's dependent. They won the spirit stick, independent. Joined with a conjunctive adverb, semicolon, comma. The sophomore hallway won donuts for their most creative hallway, independent clause. So we have dependent clause, comma, independent clause, semicolon, conjunctive adverb, comma, independent clause. So that might be one way to make an abbreviation, a notation for this sentence. Thank you very much. I hope this helps.